starting till like 1:30.
Do you enjoy ladies?
Neither did I. I'll have to go into that. What a surprise! This is one of my first movies.
I saw in my say when I was overwhelmed by that.
I love you more.
So yeah, we're doing that. We're down at which is it? Great spot.
So yeah.
Hey everybody, thanks for coming. I'm Christian Hunt, the old man's youngest, and I just wanted to thank everyone for coming initially. We are now serving food. Hopefully everyone's gotten a drink and a drink ticket. If not, you can come find me, and I have more drink tickets for everyone. And I also have a list here where if you are willing to say something about my dad, embarrassing, something that you would really not want everyone to know, please come and sign up your name. But no, it can be a complete lie. Anything to make people laugh. So, enjoy. Thanks. Family, allies, and adversaries. I'm sorry, we need a little pre-roast to interrupt the lunch with, because we have a couple of loved ones who have to leave, unfortunately, but it's very important they get to speak and say their piece. The first is Bill Crosby.
I remember this lad when he was just about 6 inches high, believe it or not, but he's he's got two wonderful sons that Ning helped put together this nice event. Now, with the exception of his Aunt Marcia, who I had the pleasure of saying hello to over there, I think I've probably known Alan longer than any of you in this room because we've been friends since we were in junior high school back in South Pasadena. They're still fighting that freeway battle if you read about it. They started that when we were in high school and they're winning. But I've had the pleasure of knowing our guest of honor here since about 1960. And we've kept a friendship up over the years, and it's appropriate that we're having this event here at this nice patriotic hall because we usually get together on the 4th of July. But, right, and my mom will be proud. But Alan was a thespian in high school, as you would expect. He was always the star of the school plays, and everyone knew that he was on to stardom, which he's certainly achieved during his life in so many aspects of theater and acting and so on. And his brother Doug was in that same vein. Any of you may have known him. Rest in peace, Doug. But Alan did have a mischievous streak in him, and one night when we were getting ready for the big rivalry in the football game with San Marino High School, our arch rivals, Alan and I went over to San Marino High School, and someone changed the letters on their sign to say what it shouldn't have said to the students coming to school the next day. And but the secret, more detail. The secret's out of the hat on that one. But this man does not have a negative bone in his body, as I'm sure you all would agree. And it's just been a pleasure to know him for these 60 years or so, and we look forward to at least another 20 or 30.
Thank you, Bill. I don't like to repeat material, but 10 years ago, at my dad's 60th birthday roast, I have been getting some requests to repeat one thing, which was my dad sleeping. You can picture this in bed, you can picture this on the couch, you can picture this in the middle of a meeting, in a parking lot, on a 405. All right, it looks like it's Nick under the light. Okay, we have one more. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bill Jones is one other person who said they have to leave in a few minutes, so sorry to pull you away from your chilaquiles.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm very honored to be here. First of all, I'm here not to roast Alan. Where are you, Alan? I'm not here to roast you. I'm here to thank you. I'm here to thank you for many, many things. I want to thank you for the great financial advice you gave me. What was the name of the guy? Madoff. That was it. Yeah. I need to get back in touch with him, by the way. I lost his number. I gave him anyway. You can find him, I'm told? That's good. Also, he gave me some great advice on real estate, and I've got these marvelous certificates for 1-inch squares of the Mojave Desert because of Alan. But seriously, for those of you who don't know me, I am Bill A. Jones, not to be confused with the Black Tony Award-winning choreographer. I don't know why he keeps getting my jobs, but he does. And I seriously am here to just very briefly say thank you to Alan for his friendship through the years and for casting me in several shows and for putting me in a show with your fabulous aunt, the fabulous Marcia. We did On Golden Pond with Bill and Marcia. It was a great production. In spite of me, it was a great production. It was pretty amazing. So anyway, I was at your 50th. And that seems like about 3 weeks ago. And here's something I'm very serious about. You age too gracefully. You see, this is not fair to guys like me. You see, I made everything sort of start, fall apart, like just going to hell in a handbasket. And you, look at you. You look a day older than 20 years ago. This is not fair. You gotta stop this shit, you hear me? For God's sake, put some dark stuff underneath the eyes, do something to make it, No, you still look good there too. It's just not fair. Don't do that anymore. What do you start to just let something happen? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure and an honor to be here. And happy birthday to you and many more. I've got an engagement tonight that I have to go to in lovely Cabazon, California. Wow. Anyway, many more to you, Alan. Thank you, and good night.
All right, so we'll resume with the toast shortly. I wanted to say very quickly thank you to beautiful Elizabeth Lauritsen for all that she did to help make this party come together. So, as you heard.
If you look up at the screen, you will see, through the years, having a father who does so many different acting jobs, you sometimes come across photos and different things you like to put together, but a lot of you might not know I'm actually an editor. So the good news is that I've gotten footage of my father at different times. So hopefully we can all recognize this man here in some of this footage. And anyways, I think the rest speaks for itself.
Any dessert?
With my voice around, I really need comment.
Oh, because you really do, your thing. Onion rings taste like you're eating a crunchy onion ring.
It's all the time on Continental DC-10 flights to Chicago.
Turkey.
Yeah.
Ham.
Exactly.
Old-time radio show. Have you seen more? Sorry, old boy, I haven't seen it.
We're for daytime reading. Beautiful museums. Rejoice shampoo. Food for long hair called Rejoice. It works.
Give me after that spiel about, what was it, dry ends?
Really? Yeah.
How could I forget? You mean a shampoo fixed all that? I sure would like this job. Don't come back! Maybe I should have worn my Hager leisure outfit. Hager slacks and tops mix and match like magic. A variety of different outfits for less than $50 each. Blue Hager slacks, check top, please.
Young man, there's something about you I like.
Nice hair.
Announcing Pontiac coming out with a new subcompact, Astra.
Hey.
Equipped with an available two-barrel, according to published EPA reports, Astra got 29 miles per gallon in the highway mileage test and 21 miles per gallon in the city test.
Hey.
Astra's got Pontiac style, Pontiac comfort, but it's also got an economical subcompact price.
Hey. 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 From clothing, groceries, appliances, to most everything is real value. You see, Fedmark believes in a kid-first quality at a low price. You've got a customer for life.
From News 13, serving New Mexico. The News 13 Network.
they walked down a double block with River Jim Road. It had diapers on one side and pantyhose on the other. In front was the paper road. The couple wed at a 7-Eleven in Wichita Falls, Texas. Now she runs it, he's a regular customer, and the folks in the store at the time were living in diabetes. The bride said that her coworker suggested that a 7-Eleven wedding would be different. And there's something else about marrying at a convenience store. It's, convenient.
She conscious? Good, already? Good. You find out if she has any relatives?
I didn't have time.
Look, I just want to make sure she doesn't have any relatives who might show up and claim the baby.
Can't you at least wait until you see if the mother survives before you start counting your money?
The minute I get out of here, I'm splitting. But Rico will be happy to know I'm taking all my files with me. What's you care about your files? None of your business. Rico knows. Maybe. All right, try this, my friend. He's involved in this baby racket right up to his teeth. My files are filled with names, dates, places, any of which could put Rico away for good. And you. That's right, and me. But if I go down, I'm taking him with me. You comprende, bro?
Oh, house guest, huh? And who might you be?
Well,
No, don't tell me. You're going on a visit. No, that's not right. You're traveling in disguise. No, that's wrong. You're running away. Well, that's more like it. Now state your business.
We want to see the wizard.
The wizard? But nobody can see the Great Oz. Nobody's ever seen the Great Oz. Even I've never seen him.
Well, then how do you know there is one?
Because of the wonderful things he does. No. Wait, Charlie, you did it. I can't believe it.
Wait a minute, today is the first day of October. The tour is today. You better get moving.
Grandpa, this isn't bringing somebody with me. I wish you could go.
No, he's too old. Who are you calling too old? I've been waiting for this moment my entire life. Okay, Charlie, I'll race you to the factory. I never thought I'd see the day when I could face the world and say good morning. I never thought that I would be slapped in the lap of luxury, cause I had said it couldn't be done. Let it be done. Yes, it can be done.
I'm flying. There's no sensation that's quite as sensational as flying.
Thrilling, fulfilling, and highly educational is flying.
It's inspirational
And recreational. Way up there in the air to be touching the sky. Which I guess is why there is no feeling that's quite like the feeling of flying. To me.
All right.
All right, so who should we do?
Thank you for that, by the way, Christian. Nothing like taking things radically out of context. That was a good laugh.
Would Vivian and Cindy like to go first?
Yeah.
So my name is Cindy Murray, and I have a theater company, Thousand Oaks Repertory Company. I'm the producer, and Alan is the artistic director. So we're a team, and we've been doing Christmas Carol together, I think, since 19 years, in one capacity or the other. Alan, so I've been chasing Alan for years. So one of my favorite shows when I was young was Spin and Marty. And I used to look forward to seeing the show because Alan would come on as their summer guest. And so I always looked forward to seeing him. And then, of course, the Voyage. Everybody was in love with Alan then. And then I was in Simi Valley one day, 20 years ago, and I was taking my little daughter then to audition for Christmas Carol. And I see this really hot guy coming in a little, really fast car with a scarf around his neck. And found out it was Alan Hunt. He was at the time auditioning for Bob Cratchit. He wasn't the director at the time. And so, I mean, the story then goes. We've been together that long. I'm honored to be working with him and his business partner. So that's how I know Alan.
Hi, I know some of you. I should start by saying that anytime you go to a party or an event with Alan, it's 6 degrees of Alan Hunt. Because you're likely to meet somebody who knows somebody who was in a commercial with Alan. Don't you remember me 5 years ago? Anyway, Alan and I met many, many years ago through my late husband, Rick Rhodes. And I think at the time, correct me if I'm wrong, Rick was doing music for you and for Lane Davies for Cyrano. And that's how Rick first met Alan and got to know him. And one day Rick came home and he said, you know what, I'm going to audition for this show and I think I have a really good shot at it. I said, why do you say that? He said, because this guy Alan Hunt is directing and I know him. He's directing Damn Yankees. And I would be perfect for it because I don't know how many of you knew Rick, but he was also not only a composer, but a singer. Rick goes to the audition, and he comes home, and I said, well, how did you do? And he said, I think I'm in. And I said, what makes you say that? He said, oh, God. Alan, the director, walked me to the door and he told me how much he liked me. It was only years later that we learned that Alan loves everybody. And he walks everybody to the door. But since that time, Rick's relationship with Alan flourished and they worked together at Oak Park High School. And even after Rick's passing, Alan became a very important part of my life and of the life of my kids and walked my daughter Allie down the aisle when she got married a few years ago. So, you know, mwah. So that was a nice part. And so we're going to put on our rose-colored glasses because this is how Alan sees the world. I can say that, I work with him. Okay? So we wrote you a little poem, Mr. Hunt. We've been working on this. So. That's awesome. Okay. That was unplanned. Okay. We'd like to take a moment, if we may be so blunt, to list the many attributes of our dear friend, Alan Hunt. If we didn't state his love for kids, we'd really be quite lax. And many, no doubt, have told him so by sending him a fax. Are you awake, Alan? Oh, are you still with us? Good. If we were to use a pun today, Alan would surely catch it. He's clever and funny and a loyal friend and makes one hell of a Mr. Cratchit. We've seen him dive on Voyage and he's been on Spin and Marty. How did he make it to the set without ever once being tardy? Oh. As years pass, he grows younger. It doesn't seem quite right. The picture in his attic, though, must really be a fright. The theater is his greatest love, the best director by far. And not only can he make a dramatic entrance, the same can be said of his car. So where is that car, Alan? Oh, the car. Yes, he may look at the world too cheerfully, but that's the reason why we've gathered here together to celebrate a very special guy. We love you, Alan.
Okay, next on the list, Gary Saxon.
Let's go.
Sexer?
And the
I've
only
never heard that one before.
And the only thing he did not need to do right now was turn off the projector. But he turned off the projector.
We're just trying to make things as difficult as possible.
Yeah.
really.
Well, you've successfully done that. I have more ad-libbing than you want to. We don't have enough time.
Ron Roser? Ron Ross? Rose? I didn't have
No, I'm not gonna do the swearing thing. All right, I got lots of material, and I was told I only have like 3 minutes. So anyway, I thought of a story, and then I have a song parody that I like to do. But the story part was, I was sitting next to Alan at one of his shows, and at the end of it, they were doing a curtain call, and just everybody's clapping and happy, and they're giving away flowers and all that. And one of the male students did some horrible, terrible thing that upstaged what was going on. And all of a sudden, Alan goes, and I don't remember if he swore, but I think he did. But he's going, I don't believe you, no, he's not going to be in the next show. And he really was not in the next show, this kid, this poor student. And I'm going, my God. I said, my God, he is cranky when you wake him up. Oh, I was so afraid. We saw Capote at the Directors Guild, I think, slept. I mean, everything, movies, he's always sleeping. So thank you for that awakening experience of sitting there. All right, so I have a song parody though, a song parody that I came up for. I did one 10 years ago, but I didn't bother to review the DVD from 10 years ago, so I'm not going to do that song, so I came up with a whole new one. And it goes something like this. There's this guy over here next to his girlfriend. There's this guy over here next to us. Is it okay I can refer to her as your girlfriend? There's this guy over here next to his girlfriend. I hear that he's turning 70 years old. But don't wake him up. You'll startle him so. Oh, what a rip and winkle. Oh, what a rip and winkle. I've got a beautiful feeling. Everyone loves him so. Everyone loves him so. Happy birthday, Alan. That's my story. Mr. Saxer?
Apparently I come up without any introduction, that's fine. That's fine. I came prepared with my own slideshow here. Alan Hunt is one talented guy, and this is a little bit of a dedication to him from one sort of talented guy. Who is this guy, anyway, that we're talking about here? My name is Gary Saxer. And I've known Alan for a while. We're going to get to that in a minute here. My wife is Shelley Saxer, and we have 4 daughters together, Jennifer Beal, Robin Saxer, Randy Saxer, and John Owen Saxer. And many of us have either been directed or been in shows with Alan together, and so that's mostly how we know Alan here. So what I'd like to do, because I know that everybody needs to have this thing. Anybody who doesn't have a napkin, make sure you have a napkin. I have several napkins for you. You know, because often you have to raise your hand. Lots of times people do a stand-up thing, okay? But I don't want to do that. I want to give everybody a napkin. This way everybody can tell if you're raising your hand or not, okay? So a bunch of napkins. So if you have a napkin, go ahead and get one there. Everybody needs a napkin so that when I put something together here, you raise it up like this. Oh, we'll practice here. Put it up in there, okay? See that? What's happening back over there? I didn't see not once. This was a practice napkin, and I didn't see it happen over there. We have more napkins, okay? Get that table back over there. And by the way, if you continue to not raise your napkin, we're going to make all of you come up here, okay? So let's get those napkins up in the air here, okay? So what normally is done at something like this is you go, well, because that first guy, Bernie made up. What a joke! I wish I'd have thought of that one. Okay, you talk about how long you've known him. Okay, well, the problem is that this kind of thing here. What I'd like to do is everybody who's known Alan for 50 years or more, up with your napkin here. Okay, 50 years or more. I see one. Wait, was that a napkin? No napkin. You don't get it. No acknowledgement if you don't have a napkin.
It's got a napkin.
Okay? 50 years or more. Raise your napkin. Well, I get mine down here. Okay. All right. How about 40 years or more? Raise it up there. Okay. I've got a couple of 40 years here. Okay. All right. 30 years or more. 30 years or more. You're like, yes. How about that, you guys? Okay. Come on, 30 years. Let's see it here. I'm looking for the 30 years people here. All right. 20 years. I have my napkin up in the air. A bunch of you over here. Okay. 20 years. How about 10 years? Okay. Those people are 10 years or less. 10 years or less. Or fewer, it should be. All right. 10 years or fewer. Let's go 5 years or fewer. 5 years or fewer. Okay. All right, so this person right here is known Alan, one of the least, so tell us how you met Alan.
Pardon me, tell me what?
How you met Alan.
Oh, I met Alan through David Himes, and we started attending all of the theater productions at Oak Park High.
At Oak Park, they're fantastic. You see that? Alan is affecting people even today, and that's one of the things that's really and been very effective for being able to do this. So now, we all have our napkins here. What other kinds of circle of friends are you with Alan? So get your napkins ready here. If you are one of these kinds of people, and I have several of them here, I'm trying to keep myself into 3 minutes, okay? But I have trouble with that kind of thing. First of all, how many of you here know that his name has 2 L's, 2-letter L's in it, right? So, okay, that's good. How many of you have misspelled his name with only 1-letter L in the past? Very good, thank you. Thank you. It happens, Alan. It happens to all of us, okay? All of us who have a name Alan. Everybody who has a name Alan, wave your... What's wrong with you? Everybody who has their name Alan, okay? Over here? And how do you have an Alan name? How do you have an Alan name?
It's my last name.
Okay. All right, with 2 L's? Oh, even with 2 L's here, okay. How about you? You have an Alan name? Oh, we already know about you. My middle name is Alan. So, no, with only 1 L. Okay. But with 2 A's. None of that E behavior there, right? Oh, how about you, E? Doesn't count. Got an E in there. Has to have 2 A's, right? But only 1 L. Oh, wait a minute. All right, so that's how I came up with that one in here, okay? All right, wave your, if you're left-handed. Okay, let's see how many we got here, okay? Look at that. Wow, there's several of them here. And of course, why would I mention that? Alan is left-handed also, that's right. Favorite color green? Okay. What do you think I picked this shirt? Okay. All right, here's another one here. How many people have the same color hair Alan has? Raise your hand. Get it up in there. Yeah, even Alan has that same color. Wait. I was waving mine. Why am I waving mine here? Hey, Alan, if you want to know my secret, I have some cool stuff I can tell you about. Yeah, it works really well for me here, okay? All right, let's, I have to keep... I heard that so many people drive the same kind of car. Alan does. Yeah. Nobody is crazy enough to do. Oh wait, that's crazy enough to drive the same kind of car. Alan, the problem is too many people know you too well. Is part of the problem with one of these kinds of things here. All right. Now, if you've ever watched one of the shows, now I'm talking not on cable TV here. Okay, this has to be over the air, maybe even in black and white. Okay, been able to see some of the shows that he was in. Absolutely, we did that. Bing, bing, bing. I remember that from Voice of the Black Boy. My brothers and I would just run to the TV to go see. We only had it in black and white, but we would run to go see the TV then to see that. All right, how many people have been scuba diving with him? I was really pushing it. Oh my God! Look at this! Score! There's a. Oh, okay. Oh my goodness! Wait a minute, this is we gotta keep this at least PG here, okay? Gotta keep it at least PG, please, okay? There's a game that you can play at parties where you come up with a question that there is only one Google result to. Finding nothing is no good. No, it has to be just one, and it's really hard to do. And this was my question, as far as I can tell, only one, right? Been scuba diving, and her definition of scuba diving apparently is quite liberal here. So we're gonna go back to that. Great, get your napkins in the air if you have ever auditioned for a show. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's quite representative for that crowd. But since I have the microphone, I get to talk about my time. My first time I met Alan, at least the first time I remember meeting Alan, was the very first year Cabrillo Music Theater had its show, The Music Man. I was 40, I guess. It must have been 41, maybe. And because it was about 20 years ago, because it was the Civic Arts Plaza London. And I thought I was some hot shit. And so I wanted to be Harold Hill, okay? And Cabrillo, I had one of my daughters, Jennifer, had been in Sandy in Greece at Cabrillo Music Theater before they went to the Civic Arts Plaza. And so I thought I knew what I was doing. So when I auditioned, and then Alan walks up to me and offers me the part of
Marcellus.
No, I wish I would have taken the part of Marcellus in a shot. Okay. Charlie Cowell, he offers me the part of, okay? I would have been happy to do Marcellus again. How would you know that I met my wife when I played Marcellus, but that was at Canal Players and not at Cabrillo. So he offered me the part of Charlie Cowell, and I went, Cowell, come on. So then I went and did some other show instead. So, and it was quite a long time here. But so therefore I was not cast in that show. But if you have ever been cast in a show that Alan has directed, okay? Oh, look at that, same nice number of people there. Yes, I was cast in a show. Alan actually cast me without auditioning me. And I did the show 1 year, and that was it. So clearly, he needs to do more auditioning for people here. And if you have been on stage with Alan at the same time, let's do a, that's a much larger number than I thought it was going to be here. I was going for the very low numbers again there for that here. I will say that since we were talking about Music Man just a moment ago, Alan and I did share the stage, was that last year or 2 years ago, at a fundraiser where Heidi was. Heidi is back over there. She had a fundraiser, okay, and Heidi invited me to come up. I've done many Gilbert Sullivan shows, so I am the very model of a modern major general, and had all of her, I came in and rehearsed with her kids for a little bit, and they got to sing, he is a very model of a modern major general behind me. And then he did, Oh, You Got Trouble, right here in River City, okay? But he did it as a solo, None of those kids could actually go work with that. Come on, Alan, what kind of guy is that, okay? Let those kids sing a little bit at their own fundraiser, okay? I even put on a costume, right? All right, how about he begged you to be in a show? Now this one, oh, look at that. Look at that. I was expecting this to only be one or two, but he has begged you to be in a show in. Absolutely, but he has done it. Another one over there. Another one over there. All right, you guys will get your chance. You come up here and talk about it, but I get my chance to talk about it. And for me, actually, this is very, very personal. But it's not me he begged to be in the show. He begged my daughter to be in the show. Actually, two of my daughters have been in shows with him, so it's one of my youngest daughters, he begged to be in a show. He wanted my daughter, I believe, to do the lead in Wizard of Oz at Oak Park High School, but she had also been cast as a member of the chorus in 42nd Street at Cabrillo Music Theater. And this is, how do you choose? And he's begging her, he's threatening her. He's saying, do you want to appear as the lead in a sold-out performance every show? Or are you just going to be in the chorus for that? Well, it turns out the director of that Cabrillo Music Theater show ended up being director of another version of 42nd Street at the summer stock that she auditioned to 2 years later from that. And that is how she got in her job, and that is how she ended up getting her equity card. So he begs them to do it, okay? But that doesn't necessarily mean you take his advice for begging, okay? And how many here have been a student of his at Oak Park High School? Ah, I hit the 0 there. Oh wait, did we get one back there?
We got one.
You don't have a napkin, okay? Yeah, you try typing on these little tiny keyboards, okay? Indeed, and obviously then my youngest daughter, Jonathan, was at that. How many of you have been a parent of a kid? Oh wait, oh look at that, we got some more of those here. Yes indeed, and I represent one of those here. And then of course, wave it in the air if you were also on the Performing Arts Board at Oak Park High School. Ah, thank you, there we go, that. And of course, my wife was also, would have been a member of that. My wife can't be here right now. We RSVP'd together, but 10 days ago we found out that Jonathan was going on. Jonathan is playing a swing in Honeymoon in Vegas on Broadway. And this is her second Broadway show. She was also in Bullets Over Broadway. But she is a swing, and she found out 10 days ago that somebody needed tomorrow off and that she was going to go on. And since next week is my wife's spring break, my wife is a law professor at Pepperdine, and so since she knew she would have the time, off in an airplane she went to go see the one show. Okay? But, and so that's why my wife couldn't have been here. All right. And then, raise your hand, stick your napkin in the air, if Alan Hunt paid your Actors Equity Association initiation fee.
Oh, hardly.
Nobody's raising their hand? My daughter Jonathan can raise her flag like that. Now think about that. For her graduation president, now this guy goes through what? Thousands of students. I have no idea if he's done this for anybody else. But in a card that he wrote to my daughter Jonathan when she graduated from high school, he wrote, if you ever make it into AEA, I'll pay your fee. Wow. And 3 years later, she got cast at the Pittsburgh Civic Light Opera, 42nd Street, once again, by the way, okay? She got cast in there, and they require an all-equity cast, and so she had to join Actors Equity to do that. And Alan, you know what? I expected Alan to go, what, me? Did I say that or something? Instead, he was badgering me to do it. And of course, starving actors don't always have the money to pay their AEA fee. And so it was what a fantastic guy. Let's give him a round. I may have spilled the beans about that, but I can certainly tell you that I have every expectation that if my daughter ever does any teaching of any kind or has somebody like that, she is going to do the same thing. That money that you paid, she will pay it forward when that happens for somebody else in the world. And then, Alan, I want to thank you very much. You have been a fantastic support for me and my family. And I got to thinking to myself, when you're 70 years old, there aren't many firsts left for your life. Okay? You know, you've done almost everything at least once. And so, I have something that I'm going to do. And Alan, I need you to come up here with me, up here in front with me. And I need, let's see here, I need you, Ron, to do this, okay? Now, I'd like you to see here that what this says right here on my phone right now, it says that I'm running Instagram right now, okay? I joined Instagram about 2 weeks ago, and I have never posted to Instagram. I'm about to make my very first post to Instagram, and it's going to be Alan and me together at his 50th birthday party, okay? All right, 70th. Okay, you need to stand back up here, Alan, okay, because yeah, you like 50th here? I'm wondering what happened here, because I thought that I had a slide that said, here we are in our first Instagram here, but I guess I didn't have that. So I'm gonna stick it up here one more time here, all right? So then we stand over here, okay? We stand over here, Ron gets that part of the picture up there, okay? And
Smile, smile.
and I'll be posting this to Instagram, and this will be my very first post. And Alan, you've now had my very first post on Instagram. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Next.
Wow, that was awesome. Thank you, Gary. That was impressive. That was a lot of stuff there. Who would like to go next? Is anyone dying to get up here? We have a list, but I'll just keep going. Walter, would you like to come? Walter Koenig, everybody.
Well, we all know that Alan is one of a kind. He's truly one of a kind. He's I think everybody probably should, just before they pass on, they should shake hands with Alan, because it helps qualify them for heaven. He's this extraordinary man whose wings are there and the halo, and it's amazing that we actually know somebody like that. You know, to me, it's extraordinary. I think of all the people who I've had unpleasant experiences with and really, want to get even. And then I think of Alan and I feel this beatification, this sense of. My only concern is walking next to him. Well, not anymore because I'm not interested in having children. That sense of, that incredible sterility that can get you. But my story is really quite remarkable, and one that doesn't generally happen at roast. I was at a birthday party of a friend of mine, and please nobody ask me who this person was, because first of all I don't remember his name. But he certainly remembered Alan, and he sat there and he was very kind of grumpy. We were sitting across from each other in these long tables like this, and I felt somehow, maybe perhaps from my association with Alan, but I felt it important to make this guy feel better. And somehow Alan's name popped up out of thin air. And I said, "Oh, Alan Hunt, he's a good friend of mine. He's a great guy." And this guy looks at me and says, "I hate him." And, as sincere as he was, as deadly serious as he was, I couldn't just, say, "Oh, I better not say anything." Because I can't believe that there's anybody that actually feels that way. I literally cannot believe that. And I said, "Alan Hunt? Alan Hunt? Marsha Hunt's nephew? Alan Hunt?" Hey. I said, "Why? Why do you hate him?" He says, "What business is it of yours?" I said, "Well, he's a good friend of mine." He says, "Yeah? Well, I hate Alan fucking Hunt." What did you do? I mean, it wasn't for me to question at that point. It was so adamant about it. But how do you let that go? How do I live the rest of my life with somebody feeling that way? And I don't understand why. And I said, "Why? Why do you hate Alan?" And he says, "What business is it of yours?" I said, "Okay, but I gotta tell you, you're the only person in the world who feels that way." He says, "Well, then I make up for everybody else." So I gotta say, Alan, and folks, I don't know what it is that Alan did. It was obviously something really, really dreadful. But you know, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel that, you know, otherwise you have that sense that you'll never be able to live up to somebody like that. Knowing that somebody hates you just makes you feel better.
Next on our list is Judy Levitt.
I just want to say one thing. Those of you who have worked with Alan know, and those who may work with you, can learn from this. Two things. When he's sitting there with his eyes open, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's awake. However, it doesn't mean that everything flies by him. It doesn't get to his brain through his auditory system. The other thing is, if he's sitting there with his eyes closed and his arms folded, it may mean that he's deep in thought and will give you notes later when all the other people are, you know, taking their break, and so as not to embarrass you. However, it may also mean that nothing is going on. But usually it means there's always something. The other thing is, sometimes Alan will ask you to participate in say, singing a song for a party or a fundraiser with some people that, well, for instance, Walter and I and he getting together and, you know, he says, let's just do this, it'll be fun. And he comes up with the music for, yes, I remember, well. And then you do it for a company that you've been in for years, Theories, where people don't know you as a song person, but somehow, in Alan's hands, we're like putty, and we live through it. So that helps with another step in bravery that actors are supposed to have. So I thank you. The other thing, we met years and years and years ago. You were directing 40 Carats out at La Mirada. And I auditioned, as you know, or you don't know, the lady, God forbid her, who was the lead of the show, was 40 years old, and she was intrigued by a younger man, I believe in his 20s, oh, the hussy. Now she's known as a cougar. But this was, you know, on the cusp of all sorts of things, this play. How daring, how dare she? Anyway, I read with this very handsome young man, and I had fun, and afterwards he said, you know, you're gonna get this part. You know, it's just written all over his face. And I didn't get it. You know? And I learned that Alan, as someone brought up, is so sweet to everybody who auditions that you just want to go and audition again. And of course we did. Cyrano, and we did Lend Me a Tenor, and all sorts of things. Anyway, so beware. Take notes on whether the eyes are open, closed, and if they're flickering, watch out.
Thank you, Judy. A lot of sleeping themes I'm seeing here. Yeah. Yeah.
I have a message that was sent to me last night. Annie wanted to write something, Annie Lockhart.
Oh, yes.
Wanted to write something, she wanted me to read it, and somehow she didn't get it to me in time, so she just wanted to say that she's with you in spirit and she loves you.
Bob Ranzel.
Thank you. I'm Bob Ranzel. I've known Alan for a long time, and I'm still trying to figure out what's wrong with him. I finally figured it out, but I can't pronounce it. My daughter Melissa recently directed a production of The King and I, and Alan auditioned for her, but she rejected him. She said, can't act, can't sing, can dance a little. Oh no, wait a minute, that's what Alan said about Fred Astaire. But Melissa felt sorry for Alan, so in The King and I, she gave him the part of the gong. When they finally made the movie of the Titanic, Alan auditioned for the part of the iceberg. He didn't get that either. He started at the bottom, and it's been downhill ever since. One of his first jobs was in a bank. He took home $450,000 a week. I could actually say nice things about him, but I'd rather tell the truth. I never forget a face, but in his case, I'll make an exception. He's being honored today for reasons that completely elude me. He's been in lots of shows, and one time a chorus girl was pounding on his dressing room door, and he finally let her out. He read about the evils of drinking and stopped reading. Alan told his psychiatrist that everybody hates him, and the psychiatrist said, "Don't be ridiculous, everyone hasn't met you yet." He told his doctor that when he gets up in the morning, he can't stand to look at himself in the mirror, and the doctor said, "Well, at least we know your vision is good." When he was a kid, his parents moved around a lot, but he always found them. And he always said, outside of a dog, a book is man's best friend. Inside of a dog, it's too dark to read. He once went on a safari and shot an elephant in his pajamas. He's still wondering how the elephant got into his pajamas. When he was in New York, he lived at the Ansonia Hotel. He moved out because he couldn't pay the bill. He moved into the Edison Hotel. Couldn't pay the bill there either, but it was cheaper. He watched his dog chasing his tail, and he thought, dogs are easily amused. Then he realized he was watching his dog chasing his tail. He always said, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, if you throw it hard enough. Whoever said nothing is impossible was wrong. Alan's been doing it for years. Last night he had a dream he ate a 10-pound marshmallow. When he woke up, his pillow was gone. In college, Alan was going to join the debate team, but someone talked him out of it. It's not that he has a split personality, but when he comes into the room, he says, allow me to introduce myself. He's 70 now. The other day he walked into an antique shop and they sold him. He's so old that his memories are in black and white. He's so old that his birthday has expired. He's so old that his birth certificate is in Roman numerals. He's so old that he's got hieroglyphics on his driver's license. He's so old that when Moses parted the Red Sea, Alan was on the other side yelling, hey, I'm fishing here. He's so old that his first job was to invent fire. Alan's so old that his blood type has been discontinued. He's so old that his first Christmas was the first Christmas. Alan's so old he has Abraham Lincoln's cell phone number. And he owes George Washington $3. He remembers when the Dead Sea was just feeling ill. He's so old that when many people say he looks like $1 million, they really mean it. Well, I've had a perfectly wonderful afternoon, but this wasn't it. Happy birthday, Alan.
Next on our list is Ron Harper.
Sorry, I hadn't prepared really anything, but I didn't realize that I would be fortunate enough to come up here and do something for you all. I was remembering, as we were sitting at the table, that when I first met Alan years ago, he was directing a play, and I wanted to play it, so I went up to audition for it, and I didn't know what to do, and he said, well, here, I've written something that you could read and let me see what your interpretation of it is. So I said, okay, well, let me see. Okay, well, I can certainly try that. It goes something like, when in disgrace with fortune in men's eyes, I all alone beweep my outcast state, and trouble deaf heaven with my bootless cries, and look upon myself and curse my fate, wishing myself like it to him more rich in hope, featured like him a friend possessed, desiring this man's art and this man's scope, with what I most enjoy, content the least. Yet in these thoughts myself almost despising, haply I think on thee, and then my soul, like to the lark at break of dawn, arising from summoned earth, sings hymns at heaven's gate. For thy sweet love remembered such wealth brings, that then I scorn to change my state with kings. And I said, Alan, that was beautiful. That sounds, sort of reminiscent of Shakespeare's 23rd sonnet. And he said, well, that inspired me, But I thought, I would touch it up a little bit, make it a little bit more emotional. All of that's a lie. Alan, it's so good to see you. Happy birthday, my friend. Many more.
How about David Himes?
Alan, Susan and I made this for you, and for me today is a toast. This is from us. Thank you. That's all I need to say.
We don't know who that guy is.
Thank you, David. This is a collage. There's our Christmas Carol, many Tiny Tims. Coca-Cola. I don't know what made David think of that.
Look at what's, and guess where it's made, Alan?
Oh, is this in Mexico? This is the real Coca-Cola, ladies and gentlemen. Mary White's Windsor, Green Bananas. Oh, this is too funny. James Dean, an actor that both David and I admire a lot, and valet parking. No, that's good.
Valet, because you don't like to pay to park.
That's true. That's true. Thank you. And a director's chair. Thank you, man. David, thank you so much.
Giants?
Yeah.
Black bananas. Yeah.
Black bananas.
And 212.
Oh yes, Lincoln's birthday.
Yeah, and the penny on there? Yeah.
That's true. Thank you for that. Very nice observation, Susan. I'm honored. And Vincent Van Gogh in the top right-hand corner. Thank you.
Now, there was only room to post it on the wall in your classroom.
Right.
That's true. Andrew James.
I look around this room and I see so many great friends and so many people who are so kind and sweet I am not burdened with such a soul. Mr. Hunt, I've been waiting for this for a long time. No, seriously, I am so dumb. I say I am so dumb.
How dumb are you?
Thank you, Ron, I appreciate that. I'll tell you, I am so dumb that when I heard we were going to come and roast dear, sweet Allan Hunt, I thought we were going to eat him. Which is the only way I'll ever get to play Bob Cratchit. I'm not joking, the man has held on to the role for so long that when Thornton Sitchmiller was offered the part, he said, "Is Bob Cratchit my dad or my granddad?" James Egan had to write in a scene at the end of the show where Tiny Tim offers Bob his crutch. Take it, please. I'm joking, of course. 70 is an amazing, amazing age. If I make it half that far, it'll be a miracle, and I mean that. We've shared many wonderful times together, and as an actor, I've enjoyed working with you for 10 plus years now. It feels like a lot longer. But I have learned that Allan's language that he learned to speak was not English. He was raised in a language called Hunt. A little bit different. And I studied a little bit. I went to college and got an acting degree, so obviously I know language. And I studied a little bit, and I've actually figured out that Hunt and English are not that much different. For instance, when Allan says, "Everyone on stage for the Hawaiian number," what he means is, seriously, get your butts on stage, I need to take a nap in the front row. And that's not the only one, there's other ones. When he looks at you after a particularly powerful scene and says, "Well done, my man," what he's really saying is, "I can't remember your name, but good job not getting in my way." That was good to learn, and it helped, I think, a lot for Taming of the Shrew. It helped me in Much Ado as we communicated back and forth. But the one that really put it over the top, where I could finally understand the artist that was Allan Hunt, was when I realized that, oh no, dear sweet Andrew, no, actually means, seriously, do you have any idea who I am? I am Allan Hunt. I am Allan fucking Hunt. I was on Voyager. My aunt is Marcia Hunt. I worked with Henry Fonda. It helped me a lot. Allan, you are a dear friend, and I've learned a lot from you. And if I can be half the man that you are, I'd be great.
Now we have a very special guest appearance by one of the most senior members of the audience, Thornton Sitchmiller.
Hi, I'm Thornton. I know Allan from A Christmas Carol. I've played Jonathan and Tiny Tim and other people. But when I heard that we were roasting Allan, I didn't think that was possible. He's such a nice guy. But the only thing I could come across was how he always falls asleep mid-sentence. There's nothing wrong with the guy but that. And a couple years ago when I was Tiny Tim, I was asking Allan, could I be Jonathan next year? And he said, "Oh, sure, Thornton, yeah." Hi, Thornton. What do you need? And he's just, you need to wake up. And that's all I really have to say. But I've known Allan half my life. The two amazing things about him are his personality and his style. Like how he dresses each time. Like he's classy and nice. But really, Allan, you've been like a father to me for the past couple years.
Before we get to the next person, we just wanted to give out a special shout out to our sponsor, the Center for Sleep Deprivation. If anybody's wondering, it's actually because he tries very hard not to sleep. No, like at night. I mean, he doesn't sleep. All right, well, there was one of the, I don't know if you guys got to watch the slideshow, but there was one yellow piece of paper that looked like this. This was actually a sleep contract that I wrote with my dad over breakfast at a restaurant near my house, where I was like, okay, 8 hours. He's like, 8 hours? People sleep for 8 hours? Yeah, and that picture is about all that's left of that. So, okay, next is Karen Jacobson. Round of applause, please.
Hi there. The first time I met Alan Hunt, I was dressed as a teapot, and Elizabeth was dressed as a wardrobe. We were doing Beauty and the Beast, and it was a wonderful production. And here I met Mr. Hunt, and I knew exactly who he was, and grew up watching Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea and the whole thing, and I went, this is so cool. Well, about a couple of weeks later, I received a phone call from Alan, and he asked me if I'd like to play Widow Corney in Oliver, and I said, sure, that's great. And we went back and forth and rehearsed and had a wonderful time until I tried my costume on. My costume weighed 30 pounds, and it was beautiful. It was absolutely gorgeous. And it was made for me, and it went, oh, it's so lovely. Until Alan told me, you have to roll on the floor, and then get your legs up, and the dress goes over your head, and I just went, okay. So the first time I tried to do that, I went down on the floor, and the whole dress just went, and I was sitting like a marshmallow, I was just sitting there, wouldn't move. So I had to sit down and literally throw this 30-pound dress over my head and get smacked every night in the face with this very heavy dress. Yeah, and there was no air conditioning either. So it was one of the best weight loss plans I've ever had. Thank you, Alan. I learned a lot from him, and I really appreciate what I learned, because now I'm directing too, and teaching youngins how to go on and do the art and so on and so forth. But thank you so much for inviting us. We're very appreciative.
There's some nachos here. Anybody's still hungry, so they've already broken down the food. We are going to have cake at some point. I didn't mean to get it. Did we ever tell you the time that we learned to go skiing, and our dad also learned to go skiing at the time? Do you want to see? This is a physical bit. Do you want to see what my dad how my dad skis? Or he has two main skiing postures. There's this one, and then there's this one. But the most amazing part ever was when we were skiing, and there was one lift at the top of the mountain where it was one of these lifts where you get off and you actually have to kind of know how to stop yourself pretty well to not go flying off the side of the mountain. And there was a kind of backup of people at the top there, just kind of standing around. Most people who can, kind of stop reasonably. And so my dad gets off the lift and immediately gets into the snowplow. And he's not going very fast, but he's also not stopping. And so he starts just incrementally, like a tidal wave, just kind of moving towards this group of people. And next thing you know, he's touching this group of people. And suddenly, him and this group of people are starting to collapse. All in incredibly slow motion. And the whole time he's saying, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm terribly sorry. This is very embarrassing. I'm so terribly sorry. It's one of my favorite memories. It's a true story. We now have John Scoggins.
Sounds about how I ski. Thank you, Alan. So, Alan and I go back about 25 years, give or take. Yeah, so it's great. I've learned a lot from Alan over the years, and we've done lots of shows, performances together. And I know that this is a roast, but it really is hard for me to muster up some bad things to say about the man. He has been a role model for, I know not only me, but everybody else that's worked with the Playhouse and in the theatrical community. And just what a pleasure it's been to call you a friend. And I know my mom would have loved to have been here as well. And that's all I want to say today. Just happy birthday, Alan. Thanks for having us. I can't roast him. I can't bring myself to do it. I'll do it on my own time with him. So thank you, Alan.
You know, when you grow up as Alan's son, it's really nice when you're a kid because your dad's so nice. You kind of live in this like fantasy world of going everywhere and thinking, hey, everyone's nice. But then when you get in the real world and you get older, you realize that you become competitive and you think, damn, my dad's so nice all the time. How can I compete with this? And one of the things my dad does is he'll be, you know, we're very busy, and he'll say, oh, Christian, oh, you're going on a trip? Yeah, Dad, I'm leaving at like 5 a.m. and I've got to go to LAX and I'll give you a ride, Christian. Excuse me? Dad, I just told you I'm leaving at 5 a.m. Oh, no, Christian, I'll give you a ride. But see, you know what that is? He wants to ride another time to LAX. Don't do it. Don't let my dad ever give you a ride to LAX. Because then he wants it back later. So that's what I did, see? I didn't tell anybody, but I moved. I live now 2 minutes from LAX. All my family is in the valley. I've got Uber, I've got a cab, friend driver. I'd rather walk to LAX than have to give my dad a ride another time. No thank you. No thank you. I love you, Dad. Samantha LeBrecq, the videographer who's been here helping us out. Don't stop recording.
I know. Hello everyone, my name is Samantha LeBrecq. Ooh, hello. I am a former student of Mr. Hunt, and he will always be Mr. Hunt. I don't care how old I am, how old you are. It's still so weird. Mr. Hunt. Mr. Hunt, you're such a sweetheart. I spent most of my high school career not doing my homework but rehearsing for your play. I was in the drama department all 4 years. I was in his classroom every single Wednesday for drama club. I actually was in the drama department with Gary's daughter, Jonalyn. I was a freshman when she was a senior. And it was such a big part of my life. I auditioned for every single show. I got a fairy in Merry Wives of Windsor. I was a village girl in Fiddler on the Roof. I was a birdie girl in Bye Bye Birdie. There's a little trend going here. So finally, my senior year, we did Sweeney Todd, and I was able to grasp the part of Mrs. Lovett. It was such a theater people. And I was so excited because I'm never gonna be able to play this part for another 40 years, right? I get to play in high school. So it's double cast, as many high school productions are. And I was double cast with a lovely girl named Maddie. And we both had long brown hair, and we got our little voices from Mrs. Lovett and everything. And we were getting down to almost Hell Week, where we were getting super close to the show. And so we were alternating doing our scenes, going out there, just things that we had to fix, doing our songs and everything. So we were back and forth, I was up there sometimes, she was up there sometimes, and we got to, actually at the beginning of the show, The Worst Pies in London was our big song, and I got up there, and I'm doing the song, it's going really great, and I finish up, and I come down, and and I go to Mr. Hunt to see if he has any notes, and I just see, Good job, Maddie. Good job, Maddie. Great. Oh, amazing. Great. Great. And it was, you've seen it so many times, you didn't need to see it that time too, but it was just, that was Mr. Hunt in a nutshell right there for that one. I love you so much, Mr. Hunt. We had so many good times with that show, and you're great, and you're so sweet, and thank you so much for everything.
All right, we have a special headliner act now. Do you want to introduce with me?
Sure.
We would now like to call to the stage our very, well, there's not good enough adjectives. We'd like to bring to the stage our great aunt, Marcia. Who's gonna really let you have it.
Hear you out there. So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I have to tell you, I hold a record here. I've known him the longest of anyone. 70 years and 9 months. That's a record. It is my great luck to be this fellow's aunt. I don't like roasts. I would rather boast and toast than roast. So I'm no good at that. But I just have to tell you that it's been 70 years of pure joy. This fellow has kept me so busy catching up with all he's up to. And it's so many things to be proud of, to take delight in. It's simply been a privilege. And the joy of his family, his boys. I think if there's anything he's best of all at, it's being the father of those two. What a dad he's been. But he's pretty damn good at being a nephew. It never fails. Do you know what he's doing today in his now 70s? He finds free time to come over to my house, now that I can no longer read, and read to me. If he only has a half hour, he'll call and say, "Is it a good time? Can I come read?" He asks if he can come and read. What kind of nephew is that? It's pure joy. I'm so lucky. I guess that's what sums it up for me. But at 97, I can only praise his 70 and how he has spent them. God bless Alan.
I don't mean to upstage you, Marcia, but I just wanted to say on Roger Memos, I just finished directing this picture documentary on Marcia's life, and I hope that, Alan, we've got to make sure that all of your friends see the documentary. We have to have a screening. But what I want to say about Alan, and I told him this, is I'm late in the game meeting Alan. He's a wonderful gentleman. But as far as the documentary goes, I was so impressed with Alan's memory, how he framed the sentence, how he really, I felt he was almost like he was the glue that held the documentary together, because you really painted a picture of your aunt.
He's in it.
Yes, he's definitely in it. But Alan, thank you so much for really what you gave to the documentary. Is you really painted a true picture of a wonderful woman.
and happy birthday.
Thank you. I guess these people didn't hear this was a roast. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody so much for coming out. We couldn't imagine a better way to wish our dad into the second half of his life than with all of you. And please enjoy. Oh yeah.
I didn't put my name on the list, Ellen, but do you mind?
Terry, you go.
You know it? Sure. Oh, okay. My name is Terry Duddy. I'm the Adjutant Finance Officer, Administrator, Bar Manager, and Parking Lot Supervisor here at the American Legion. I work 80 hours a week and I'm here all the time. True story, I haven't been home, haven't slept a night in my own bed in 3 years. But it's all Alan's fault. I wanted to share something. I just heard that there's a documentary about Marcia. Marcia Hunt. There was a program here that started in 1932, ended in 1963. It was called the Studio Starlets. And every year, the studios would send their new girls under contract here to the American Legion, to our auditorium upstairs, which is a vast room above us, seats 700 above us in this building. And every year, they would be introduced to Hollywood here, and they would be made honorary colonels of the American Legion. And Marcia Hunt was one of those girls who was introduced here. 3 years ago, we reintroduced 3 of the girls and brought them back and gave them statues, which we named honorary colonels, because before they got a piece of parchment, and we figured that the statues would look a lot better on their mantelpiece. And so Marcia spoke incredibly. She was so vibrant and so thrilling, and she still is at the same age. I mean, Alan, if you ever get there, we're going to have you come back too and do the same thing. Alan was one of the original members here. We started I've known Alan for 36 years. We started a theater group here called the Liberty Theater. And Alan was one of the original members and did plays here long before he knew any of you. And of course, the reason why he could do that is because Alan is a veteran. And weren't you in the Navy? The Marine Corps. Well, there you go, Semper Fi. And of course, to us, these are the things, these are our family. And when we do something like this and we get somebody in here and we don't call it a roast in the American Legion, we memorialize this young man still. But he is famous, most infamous and most famous for when he directed, and I paid him, I actually paid Alan to do this, to direct One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest here for us. And he was, at the same time that he was doing this, he was directing 2 other plays. And so he would call me on Monday and say, here's the time I have available, get the cast together, and we'll start. Sometimes we would start at 9 or 10 o'clock at night and go at 2 o'clock in the morning. And after the first couple of weeks, we realized that Alan had fallen asleep. And nobody wanted to wake him up because he was doing all these other plays. So this is, Richie Ravelli and all of us who knew Alan for 30 years. And so we would prop him up and get pillows and put him on either side, and we would let him, and then we would go through the rehearsal and whisper all the lines. So we would wake him up. And so at the end, when we would, Alan, it's time to go, okay, oh, great, good. It was a great rehearsal, you guys did a great job. It's wonderful. And so at the end, we actually did roast Alan. We said, Alan, we really self-directed this play. But we had known Alan for so long, for so many years, we knew exactly how he would do it. And so that's how we did it. Alan, you're a wonderful guy. Thank you. And thank you for being part of our history now here at the American Legion. You're all included.
Hi, for those of you who don't know me, Vivian Latham. Oh God, where to start? I've known Alan for about 14 years, and we've done Christmas carols so many times I've lost track. The only way I can remember Christmas carols, not by the years, because they become a blur. I remember Christmas Carol by the matinee movies that we saw, because we would do Christmas Carol, we would do morning shows for the schools, and then we would do evening shows for the public, and we would have matinee day where we would go see a movie. So the first year I did it was with Walter as Scrooge, and it was the first Lord of the Rings movie. So Google that and you'll know when it was. I've learned some things about Alan here tonight. Drew forgot a little bit of the directing. Where is Drew? Wave your hand.
Bathroom.
Bathroom. Oh,
Sorry.
good. There's a little bit of non-verbal language the way Alan directs, because he is so sweet. But when you get to work with him as often as I have, you get to learn certain things. When Alan gets exasperated at an actor because they've blown a line or a bit, he does this. And the very first year I worked with him, we were standing in the back of the house getting ready to do the Fezziwig dance, and he's watching us, Bob Cratchit, and also as director. And some actor on stage who was Mrs. Fezziwig, I don't remember who it was, blew a line, and he went, and I was standing next to Brett Elliott, and Brett said, "Oh God, Alan's really pissed." When he's directing kids, and we have marvelous kids over the years, but they're kids, and you know, they need help with lines and line readings. And I have learned that when inevitably the child finally gets the line right, Alan will walk over and give him a high five, and he'll do that. Which means, God damn it, I should have listened to Cindy and hired midgets. I think I can safely say I'm probably one of the few people in this room to have genuinely pissed Alan off. Yes, oh, you look surprised. It's old age saying it. I've played Mrs. Cratchit for several years, and the last few years, just some things happened on stage that were entirely my fault. But I can say that I pissed Alan off. One year I missed several shows of Christmas Carol due to illness. I won't go into it, and somebody had to step into my place, Debbie Price, who basically Alan walked into the dressing room and said, "Dear Debbie, Vivian is in hospital and can't do Mrs. Cratchit. Can you go on?" And he handed her the script and said, So I came back middle of the run, and was okay, but everyone was a little worried. We were doing the sad Cratchit scene where I have a long skirt that's very heavy and held together with 2 snaps. And we walk on stage for the sad Cratchit scene, and one of the Cratchit kids was behind me and stepped on the train, and I heard snap, snap. Well, this is a long train. It's down to the floor. I had underneath boots, socks, and knickers. And I thought, if I walk on stage, I'm going to flash the entire audience. So I grabbed my skirt like this and walked on stage. And the entire time I'm doing my lines as Mrs. Cratchit, I thought, bloody hell, what do I do now? If I let go of my skirt, it's going to fall to the floor. Damn. Alan's off stage, we're doing the scene, and I thought, I have a couple of minutes, I can walk off stage and just quickly fix the costume. So we hear Bob Cratchit come on, and I walk off stage, and the kids are saying, "Oh, hello, father," and I'm in the wings, frantically trying to snap the thing, and I hear Alan on stage saying his lines, and I thought, damn, I have to go back on stage. And he's saying his lines, and I said my line off stage, and I came back on, and I walked over, and Alan came over, and it's a very sad Cratchit scene, and he started to take my hands like this, and I thought, no way, bud. I did the entire scene holding onto my skirt like that. The other moment, I'll make it quick, which he'll probably remember. Part of the props of the Cratchit scene is we have fake food on stage, which we never eat. We sit there and look at it and don't eat it. And there's a pot of fake vegetables that just sits there. And one show I learned that the dry ice that they use for the show, it's dry ice and water, and that's how you get the steam effect. And I thought, well, that would be really cool to put in the pot. And so it would actually look like there was something hot and steaming. So I talked to one of the crew. I thought, oh, surprise Alan, this will be so cute. So we put in water inside the pot, and just before the Cratchit scene, we put in the dry ice, and it looked fabulous. I mean, it started steaming, and it looked like it was really hot, and I'm stirring it, and I thought, well, that looks great. What I didn't know is that inevitably it kind of dies, and then it starts to turn into a giant pot of Alka-Seltzer. and it bubbles. And it won't stop. And Alan came on, this was the Happy Cratchit, we're doing the, Tiny Tim, and this thing was making the loudest bubbly noise, and I knew everyone in the audience could hear it. The look on Alan's face I can only describe as the three faces of Alan. There was the one face of Bob Cratchit. There was the face of the director who was saying, what the F is going on? And what is in that pot making that friggin' noise? And I'm looking at him thinking, oh God, he's really mad. And it was bubbling and bubbling. And I thought, I've got to get this thing off stage because it's upstaging everybody. So I just, yes dear, I'm going to go get the turkey. And I walked off stage and I took the pot off with me. And Cindy was standing there saying, what the hell is that? We finished the scene. I thought, I'm really in trouble now. And I walked off stage and Alan was in the wings with Cindy saying, what the hell was in that pot? And don't put that in there. And I thought, oh God, I'm dead. And I walked over and said, Alan, I'm so sorry. It's my fault. I just thought I would, and he said, oh dear Vivian, oh that's all right. That's okay. Just, don't do that again. No, I thought, no, I won't. But I can still say that I'm one of the few people who looked at Alan Hunt and thought, oh, he's really pissed off. So I have that privilege. I want to finish with just one very serious comment. And if I get too maudlin, I know Walter will say something. Recently, Olivia de Havilland has celebrated, I think, her 98th birthday. And there was an article about her years in the business. And the author credited her for being a strong woman, intelligent, guiding her own career, not taking BS from Warner Brothers or anybody, but remaining a lady and not being a bitch. I think Alan has one of the few people I know of who's been in the business for 50 years, and this can be a difficult business. There's a lot of nasty people in it. There's nice people, but there's some really nasty people. I don't know how Alan has survived all these years swimming with the sharks and remaining as nice and genuine and as, this is maudlin, as lovable as he is, and yet survived in this business and kept his integrity and just a genuine fellow feeling. But I applaud him for that he's not let this business go to his head. And I hold that as a role model for when I'm 70 years old. I love you, dear Alan. Thank you.
My dad just gave me some notes on how we're doing. He said, pick up the pace, back into rehearsal, fix these damn lights.
I don't know if you know me, I'm Patricia Adrian. I didn't expect to be winding this up, and I didn't know that there was a list. So, and on the Evite, as you all received, there was a place to put your roast, to write in your roast. And so I thought, oh, okay, well, I guess I better do this. And I started writing, and by the time I was supposed to send the Evite, it came back to me and said, this is too long. You can't send this. So I thought, and I just spent all this time working this out. So I said, I decided I would email it, because I didn't have Christian or Ashley's email. I apologize. So I thought I would email it to Alan and said, please forward this to Christian and Ashley. It's like, don't read it, no. I wish I could have done that. And then on the Evite, I simply said, see email. And this, I copied of my email. He's a weird little, in parentheses, man with strange eating and sleeping habits. But with a mind like a steel trap when it comes to film and theater minutiae. Even now, after 15 years, he remembers me in the role of Domina in Forum. A funny thing happened on the way to that is. And still addresses me by that name when he sees me. Is that weird? It's weird. Of course, I guess you, if you had seen me in that role where I had donned a ridiculous red Marge Simpson conical wig that stood 2 feet high on my head, you would have remembered me in it too. You see, I secretly suspected that when I boldly decided to add that wig to my costume one night, our illustrious director, Allan, the master of shtick, Hunt, would most likely approve. And so he did. Weird. So, happy birthday, happy 70th birthday. Love, I sincerely hope that your memory for your passion in the theater and all things shticky never fails you for many birthdays to come. Dear Allan.
Is that it? Is that everybody? Everybody got to say their piece?
Let's hear from Allan.
A man with a cast and a walk.
I was dying out there. I just want a little revenge.
Oh, he was the man.
My name is Patrick Culleton, and 50 years ago, I met him on the set of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, and we were acting together in an episode that was the first episode of the second season, their first season in color, called Jonah and the Whale. And Allan has got many marvelous stories about how, this job came about, but I realized when, he's told me that he went to Hollywood Professional School, and hearing about Spin and Marty. Spin and Marty? I never missed Spin and Marty.
Yay!
And suddenly it means more to me than ever. And that, so I would just like to say that Hollywood is a strange, sometimes surprisingly cruel place. And Allan got what really was a lead in a in a hit show, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, and they needed a young heartthrob, and he was it. And Vietnam got hot, and at the time they wouldn't cast anybody in a regular role on a series who was 1A. But he was already on the show, and then he got drafted, and he only wanted to get back to the business as quickly as he could, and he found out that the Army was going to take about 4 months to take him in, but the Marines would take him right now, and he could enlist for 2 years, and he also had a family history of cousins and uncles in the Marines, and because I asked him, how did you make it through boot camp, Allan, but he only looked soft. There is a core of molten steel, as you know. But I remember to this day the conversation that we had on the set of Jonah and the Whale. It was about how he didn't get Sound of Music, the movie Sound of Music. I didn't see him, but at the end of that season what happened is Allan did go into the Marine Corps for 2 years. And after boot camp and his basic training, they sent him to Okinawa, which was the jumping off place for Vietnam. And the Marines were really taking it in Vietnam. And he might not even be here, except something happened. The second season of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea hit Armed Forces Television in Okinawa, right around the same time he did. And suddenly, he was the biggest celebrity in Okinawa. And they realized that he had 15 years of experience, and I think he wound up in charge of special services on Okinawa. So he cast himself as the Music Man. So a role I have also played, but I didn't see him again until it was 1971, and I was in Seattle doing the rock opera Tommy. And after rehearsal, I walked over to the Seattle Repertory where Richard II with Richard Chamberlain was rehearsing to see a friend named Alan Fudge. And Alan Fudge wasn't there, but Alan Hunt, who I didn't know was there. And so we, reacquainted. And he said he wanted to go over and visit an actor who was rehearsing at a theater called. It was that theater that had the same contemporary theater, and so we started to leg it over to that theater together across town. And as we went, we just got. Well, I got trouble, my friend, right here. I say trouble right here in River City. Why, sure, I'm a billiard player. Sir, no matter what I'm saying, all the way. And I remember the one thing they had warned us about in the company of Tommy: don't jaywalk. They're always after jaywalkers. They'll ticket you for jaywalkers, a nasty ticket. And so as he would charge across a red light, I'd be saying, hey, listen, they warned us about jaywalking. Oh, we go on your River City, you'll be punished. He's just charging across. Okay, then I didn't see him until it was 1981. And I was in a production of Hamlet at that Quonset hut where David Himes played a great Antonio in Merchant of Venice, and I was playing the king in Hamlet, and it was an uncut Hamlet. It was 5.5 hours long, and it was a killer. And I had a beard and shoulder-length hair, and I went to read for this production of Gigi at a dinner theater. And look who's the director, it's Alan Hunt. And so we kind of reacquaint ourselves, saying, I have a feeling I'm about to be upstaged, but big. Okay, I'll let him blow out the candles, but he asked me if I would be interested in playing Gaston, that's the Louis Jardin part. Would I be interested in playing his valet? I would be interested in playing anything. I was desperate to get out of this other show. So, then they get down to casting, and he tells the two producers, I'm actually thinking of casting Patrick Culleton, the Neanderthal with the shoulder-length hair and beard, as the Louis Jardin guy. And he said the look on their face was priceless. But as to losing his temper, I'll just tell this very, very quickly. He used to sneak in and give us notes, right? And so the director, the stage manager, Gene Roach, would pop around and say, surprise, Alan was in the house tonight and we've got notes. Okay, fine. But I had driven out from Hollywood with two friends, and they were left to cool their heels while we got our notes. And I was seething. Everybody has seen me mad, but nobody had ever seen him mad. That's what I heard then. Nobody had ever seen him mad. When people heard, you made Alan Hunt mad, they wanted to kill me. Okay, so it's like 2 weeks later after he's, kept my friends waiting, and the stage manager comes around and he says, surprise, Alan's here, and he's going to have notes after the show. And I said, tell Alan, surprise. And that's milk all over his cake. And yeah, we got to go. Alan, blow out your candles. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. It's like happy
There's a movie called But Not For Me with Clark Gable and Carol Baker and Lee J. Cobb. And the whole film is about his being older and how he... Thank you, Ms. Lawrence. We heard from it in a minute. Yeah. Oh, you hadn't finished. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, no, I interrupted the
Hey guys, thank you all for being here. I think anytime you reach some kind of significant number in your life, my uncle, Marcia's husband, Robert, who was like my father, said, when you get to a significant number like this, you can go about 2 ways. You can tiptoe through it, like Carl Sandburg, little cat's paws in the fog, or you can call out the big brass band and announce it to the world that don't take any whatever. Okay, I thought that was pretty good advice, but I go for the third one. I like to spend a birthday like this with friends. And I thank you all for being here. This means a lot to me. My 2 boys for hosting, and Elizabeth Norris and the rest of it, who did all of this unbeknownst to my boys and me. We thought we were into this way, but I thank Elizabeth for all these pictures. You know where she got them all? And
In the attic!
so at the end, anyway, when that cake was just lit, guys, there's a great moment in Burnout for me, because all the jokes are about Clark Gable getting older, and he's involved with Carol Baker, who was very young at that time. And it's Clark Gable's birthday in the story, and so they bring in this cake, and it has a candle for every year. And they're all looking at it like this, and Carol Baker's going, because she's his girlfriend in this. And Lee J. Cobb is this wonderful, ne'er-do-well, sarcastic writer, and he looks at the cake for a few moments and he goes, looks like the Chicago Fire. Anyway, pretty good sport, Clark Gable to do that part. But anyway, I am honored by all of you being here. Thanks for coming by, and how nice to do it at the Legion, where we have a considerable history. Marcia did a special about 6 months ago here, honoring the USO and people who performed at the USO. And Marcia was one of the ones being honored. So this is like old home week here at this building. Anyway, we do have cake, and I hope you'll stay at least for that. Are we keeping on time with this?
Punchline.
About 5 minutes.
Well, it wasn't that. Oh, sorry.
I feel terrible. And anyway, the point is that Alan gathered the whole cast together for the notes, and then he waited, and he waited, and waited, and finally somebody said, shouldn't you start giving notes, Alan? And Alan said, I'm just waiting for Patrick. And they were all afraid to tell him that I slipped, you know? And they described the look on his face, you know? Okay, well, I'll call Patrick, I'll give him his notes tomorrow. And then he started to give the notes. And when I heard how mad I'd gotten him, I bought him an album of ragtime music, and I left it on his front doorstep and rang the bell and ran away.